Today's class is going to be a splits focus class where we don't need a mat, but we do need socks and a slippery surface. If you only have like carpet in your house, you can use, if you happen to have like paper plates, or if you have the actual exercise sliders, those will do as well. Or you can just do this without doing the sliding movement. So yoga mat on a carpet, whatever. There is going to be a fair amount of hamstring flexibility that's required for this. So if you're super tight in this area, this class might be very frustrating for you. But of course, you're more than welcome to still try it. Just don't get discouraged, and maybe just recognize you're only going to do some of it, or you're really going to modify some of it. With any classes, as I say, just do your darndest and have fun with it. Let's not judge ourselves. At least we're here moving our bodies, and that's what truly matters. So regardless of if you've got splits in your practice or not, let's start with some little warm ups in the legs. So we're just going to come, I've got right leg forward into a low lunge. And so I'm really settling down into this, trying to get my hips as low as possible. Knee can extend past the toes. We're not worried about any of that. Knees can go beyond toes. So if you still have it in your head that your knee has to stay directly, like can't go past toes, don't fret too much about that. Your body does that in its everyday movement. So it's probably better to train it a little bit. So we're stretching, opening up into this left hip flexor, quad a little bit. I really like emphasizing quad stretching, which is required in splits too, because this back extended leg, this is the shape that it's in. So let's get a little bit more into the quad by bending this back leg, and just be gentle if you're doing it on hard floor. I like to tuck my toe and then I use my hands to take some weight off of it. Otherwise it can hurt your knee on the hard ground. If you can reach your foot, if you can't, that's fine. Just use strength here. Even using the strength of the back line of your body is going to help open up the front line a little bit more. Or if you can grab your foot, then you're just pulling your heel in towards your bum. And do a couple rounds of breath here. Let's do one more. Now bring the weight a little bit off that back leg as you untuck the knee. Again, just so we're not hurting the knee, we're going to pull the hips back, come into a half split here. So flexing through the front foot, we're just warming up into this hamstring, trying to bring the rib cage to the thighs. So don't worry about bringing your forehead down. Rib cage to thighs, nice flat back from the crown of your head down to your tailbone. If you want to work with your breath to help settle your mind as well, you can think about a rope attached to the crown of your head, and every inhale, someone's pulling on it, so you're lengthening through your spine, and every exhale, melt a little bit deeper into the stretch. Inhale, lengthen, maybe come out of it a little bit. Exhale, hold. Again, inhale. When you're bringing your chest to your thigh, you can then think about bringing your chin to your shin, because again, we're not really bringing the stretch into our back right now. We're focusing on the legs, so we're not worried about forehead down. Shift forward, come back into this low lunge stretch. You can tuck the back toe. You can even grab from the opposite side. So the first round I did this side. Maybe try the other arm this round. Hold it. You can make any little micro adjustments you need to. When we're deep in a pose, I put a lot of emphasis on micro adjustment. We don't want to make any major moves. If you find you need to make a major adjustment, come out of the depth of the stretch and then make the big adjustment, and then come back into it. Pulling back into our half split again. All right, that's enough. My back knee is starting to hurt. So from here, we're going to use the sliding. So if you want blocks here, mine are downstairs. I should have grabbed mine. If you want blocks here, it can help bring the ground a little bit closer to you. Otherwise, you're just going to come into your split. It doesn't have to be a full split. If you're way up here, if you're still basically in a half split, that's fine. Maybe you put some padding under your back knee if you're already feeling it a lot. Whatever you've got handy, or rolled up mat, whatever. And then from here, to strengthen our end range of our split, what we're going to do is push and come up and out of it. And now if you had block, oh no, I can do it without See, sometimes you surprise yourself. I thought I'd need blocks to bring my legs all the way together, but that's why sometimes we try things. But we're just coming out of it. And again, your range of motion might be like this. You can leave the back toe tucked or untuck and then tuck it again. Whatever kind of works for you. Make this your own. I'm not super picky. You're in your house. You can do whatever the heck you want. But we're just strengthening here. You're also going to be strengthening through basically the front line of your body because your core is contracting to lift yourself up. You're pushing the ground away, so you're using your pecs, your shoulders. So do a couple more rounds of this. And then I like to bend my back knee to then rotate through the hip. It doesn't feel good in my hips to keep both legs straight and rotate through them. If you can do that and it feels fine, then by all means, but that's how I do it. And then we're just gonna come into a side straddle before we go to the other side. So same thing here. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Another gentle reminder, it doesn't matter if you're right up, if this is what your forward fold straddle looks like, but you feel a sensation in the stretch, that's all we want. That's all we need. Doesn't matter what it looks like. We're not comparing ourselves to someone else's journey. We're not discouraging ourselves and telling ourselves we can't do it because it doesn't look like someone else's. But for those who are a little more advanced and put in a lot of time and effort with their practice, we're also not going to hide ourselves and feel like we can't work to our full expression because it might make someone else feel bad. So there's definitely that balancing there. So coming in, hanging out here just for another moment. Let's slowly work our way up. And then we're just going to come to the other side. So now my left leg is in front, coming into this low lunge. I feel like I said left leg on the other side, but it was my right leg. So if I did, then I apologize. But anyways, holding ourselves here. Let our hips sink lower. Find a little bit of stillness. I'm bringing my left hand to the inside of this front foot, tucking the back toe, shifting forward. I don't know if you could hear that, but my bones were ground kind of against the hard ground. So sorry if it is uncomfortable for you, but hey, sometimes we have to endure discomfort. So I'm pulling the heel in towards the bum. You can stay down. You can come a little more upright. Slowly release that. And then I'm pulling the hips back. Nice flat back again here. So inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. My left leg is always a little bit tighter than my right, so I like to spend a little bit more time on this side. I feel like most people's left side is a little bit tighter, but if you're an anomaly and it's your left side that's more open, then maybe you switch back to your right side and spend a little bit more time on that side, or just stay with us here. Chest to thigh. Maybe chin to shin. Let's do 2 more rounds of breath. Shift forward again, low lunge. Let that knee come all the way forward, the front knee. Tuck the toe and gently come onto that, bend that back leg. Grab from the other direction this time. Again, make little movements just to work into different regions of the body. So I'm just kind of like squaring up my hips and letting them splay open, square, splay. Working a little bit of the strength in the end range as well. That's what mobility is. It's strength and control in our flexibility, whereas flexibility is just coming to the end range, but not necessarily having control on it, of it. So, let's come into half split one more time. I was gonna get right into it. So half split again. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Let's actually do one more round of breath. Like I said, I like to hang out and warm up on the left side a little bit more because it is my finicky side. I've pulled the side twice because I try to keep up with my right side, which has caused me a couple of injuries. So now I try to be very mindful to just warm up my left side more so that I don't go through the lengthy process of having to let a hamstring heal, because that's no fun. It can be pretty limiting. So we're in our split now. Again, it doesn't matter what our split looks like. We're just doing our darndest. You can have your blocks to bring the ground closer up to you. And then from here, we're going to push and slide our feet together. Come down, squeeze the legs together. Come down. Let's do two more. Come all the way down. We're going to bend through this back leg again, open up through the hips, come into our straddle. This is kind of our resting stretch. I like to stack my fists because, as you haven't noticed, I'm really big on nice flat back when we hinge forward. So again, we're leading with our rib cage, our chest, not our face. So I find if I stack my fists, or if you use a block and you rest your forehead on it, then again, you're staving off that. Curving through the back creates a really nice back stretch, but it's just not the sensation we're working on right now. So work with your breath for a couple more rounds here. Again, inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head. Exhale, fold. Notice your feet. Have them do something. You can either flex or point. Maybe spend half the time doing one and then switch to the other. Because again, that's a micro adjustment where it does slightly change up the stretch. So try both ways. Coming up, we're going to work more with our front facing split. We're going to do it a little bit differently. So again, this is going to be far more accessible if you have a split in your practice. If you don't, modify as you need to. Maybe you're doing it from like a 90-90 type lunge. But what we're doing here is sliding the back leg all the way around. So we're coming to sit in a seated forward fold position, and then taking the opposite leg, sliding it back behind. I like to, you can see I'm pushing through my hands to lift up through my hips as I rotate that back leg around, because your joint is rotating like bone on bone. So don't make it any more harsh than it needs to be. And then we're just coming back around, this leg to the front, this leg to the back, lift up to rotate through the hips, slide it front, slide the other leg behind, and come forward. From here, let's do a little bit of core work. So we'll give our splits a little bit of a break. And we're going to come into a plank position. You can be with tucked toes or untucked toes. Untucked toes is a little bit more intense, but make sure your shoulders are stacked over your wrists, and then we're pushing the ground away. So you can see I'm very, very active through the shoulder blades here, and then slide your knees towards your chest and back. Slide forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. Now slide forward, stay here, and now we're just going to slightly switch it up. We're going to now come into let's just come into a reverse tabletop position here. So again, shoulders over wrists, but this time our belly's up, and we're going to now extend through the legs, lift the hips as much as possible, and then pull your feet back as close towards your hands as possible. So if this is where you stop, then so be it. Maybe you have blocks here as well because you'll have more space. But as I said, just do your darndest. I'm rotating my hands a little bit. I had them turned out and it wasn't really feeling nice. So play around with your hand placement as well. Once you've experimented with a couple rounds of that, now we're going to try to bring this all together. Oh, and I'm going to try one round without blocks, but this may be hard, so I might need to pause the video and go get my blocks. But if you've got blocks, use it on the lowest setting. Maybe the second setting if they're cork blocks. If they're the foam blocks, they're not as sturdy. So I would recommend first setting, like the lowest setting with foam blocks. If you need higher, invest in cork blocks. Makes all the difference. But now let's try to connect these two. So we're starting here. I know this time instead of stopping here, we're going to push the ground away and try to slide all the way through. Oh, I can do both. But what I'm doing here now is crossing my legs. As I come through, it makes it a little bit more compact. So pull through. I'm crossing my ankles. Pull back. Pull through. Pull back. I'm just going to rotate just for another view of it. So from this plank position, coming through. And then I find it harder to pull back, so I cross my ankles, but you can also cross your ankles coming forward. Your arms are really going to start burning. Take breaks as you need. And then during your break, to relax your arms, you can do some shoulder rolls, shake out your wrists. An opposing force to doing weight bearing on your wrists is bringing your knuckles together, interlocking all 10 knuckles. Bring the tops of your hand in contact with the mat. You can lower your elbows down to the ground and can then, keeping a tight fist, start to straighten through the arms. So when we're like this, we're really activating these muscles. So doing this stretches and relieves that muscle. So again, we're not going to overdo it. We're giving it a little bit of relief. All right, if you want to play around with that in and out or breaking it up into the two different positions, then pause the video, do a little bit more with that. If it was fun for you, if it was frustrating and horrible, then let's just move on to the next portion. So from here, we're just coming to standing, and we're just going to circle this leg back behind us, lift it up, circle it up off the ground. So move slow, bring the toe down, circle it out to the side, and back, lift it up, out to the side, and back, lower, toe is in contact with the ground, elevated, and bring it back. Let's do the other side now. No, let's bring it to the back, and then lift it up, side, back, lower, side, back, lift, side, back, lower, side, back, lift, side, back, lower. Now I'm just turning to face you guys. We're going to work on some side split strength. So not straddle where our legs are in front of us. We're going to try to work on our actual side split. Again, anyone can do this. You just might not go as deep. So if you need something really high up, like a chair or something, then go ahead and grab it. Blocks as well. But what we're doing here is keeping our toes pointed forward. And with our slippery socks or our sliders, we're just going to come to a depth where we can squeeze our legs back together, because again, we're building strength in this end range. Squeeze back together. Come down, push with hands, squeeze, see if you can squeeze all the way back up. It's very hard, so if you're really struggling, we all are, and that's the fun of it. So come down, let's do a little bit more. Slide out, see if you can go a little bit deeper, and then squeeze all the way back up. If this is as far as you go, and this is what you're doing, then that's beautiful, that's perfect. If you challenge yourself and you try to go a little bit deeper and you can't get back up, That's all right. Now you know your end range, your stopping point. So try to work your way to that point so you can eventually squeeze yourself back up. Keep coming down low and then pushing. We're exerting ourselves, so use our breath. Our breath is immensely helpful when we're doing very hard things. Let's do one more of these. And come to sit on the bum. Let's roll out the wrists here, just really gentle, so just come to a comfortable seated position. We're going to start cooling down now. That's it. That's all for the hard stuff. So I'm interlocking all 10 fingers and just doing kind of like figure 8 movement in both directions. Move a little bit slower than you want to. Doing some wrist love here, so not necessarily a wrist warm up. So you really want to feel into those rotations. My hair is a mess. I can feel it falling out. Oh, wow. Let's get a side body, upper body stretch, since we just did a lot of lower body stretching. So extending one leg out, it's almost like a half straddle position. Bring the other leg, so it's in a bent position. Bring the heel as close to the bum as possible. Now with my opposite arm, so for me it's my left leg bent, so my right arm is reaching in front, grabbing the ankle. You can come up on the toe or just keep the foot flat. But then with the left arm, I'm reaching up and over towards the right toes. If you are nowhere near to finding the toes, oh well, we just want to stretch right here. If you can grab the toes, I like to point through my foot to pull me even deeper, and then pull the knee of this bent leg away. You can see how I really open my chest up towards the ceiling. Slowly unravel. Another side. So my left leg is extended now, right leg is bent. Left arm reaches in front, grabs for that right ankle. Right arm reaches overhead. Trying to keep my chest as open as possible as I reach. Maybe I find my toes. Wherever you are, pull that bent knee away from you. As you reach with the right arm, maybe use those toes to help reach even further to get even more of a stretch along the right side of the body. Slowly come back up. We're going to do a shoulder stretch mixed in with a spinal twist. This is one of my favorite upper body stretches. So if you need some cushioning for your knees, you can grab your yoga mat here. I'll quickly grab mine because I feel like I want it. So we're going to thread the needle. So coming hands to knees, I'm going to bring my left hand central. Which side do I want to do first? If I do that. Actually, I'm going to do this side first so that you can see a little bit better. So I'm taking my left arm, reaching it up, suck my belly button in towards my spine. Get a nice twist through the thoracic spine. Then that left arm feeds through and under. So we're coming into this shoulder stretch. Right hand is in front of the face, so you can stay right here. Try to pull your hips a little bit more square. They pull off to the side as you come here. I want more, so I'm going to extend my right arm, keeping my fingers in contact with the ground overhead, and then I'm going to inch those fingers behind me, bring my gaze up past the right armpit, so I'm getting a nice twist in here, and I love this one. It feels so nice. Keep pulling the hips that way. I can see my hips pushing this way, so I try to pull them just to intensify the stretch. They don't really cooperate, but hey, I'm just doing my part. And then I'm bringing this right hand back in front of my face, pushing the ground away, reaching the left arm back up, setting it down, switching it out, into the other side, right arm reaches up. Thread that hand through, come onto the back side of the shoulder. Left hand is in front of your face. It reaches overhead and then inches back behind you. Your gaze is up past the left armpit. Socking that belly button in towards your spine. Pulling the hips over to the other side. That left hand slides back in front of your face. Push the mat away. Reach back up with that right arm. Set it down. Let's sit back and we'll do one little gentle hip opener stretch. Another one of my favorites. It's just a gentle full pigeon, so we're not going to do the stacking of the shins. We're going to come into like a pseudo cross-legged position. One shin is in front of the other, creating that triangle shape with the legs. So my right leg is in front. When I start to hinge forward, leading with the rib cage, leading with the chest, not the face, I'm going to feel the stretch on the outside of this front leg, glute, outer hip area. Same thing, I like to stack my fists. If you can hinge forward that much, rest your forehead on your fists. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. One more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Slowly come up. Switch which leg is in front. Lead with the rib cage, the chest again. Fold forward. Stack opposite fist on top. Rest your forehead on your fist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly coming up. You can stay right there or move to a different comfortable seated position. I'm feeling kind of crazy, so I'm coming into lotus. Lotus gets very uncomfortable for me very quick, especially for this bottom ankle that's kind of like torqued up into my leg. It's not the most natural position. Like I said, I'm feeling crazy, so if you're feeling crazy, you can do it, or something a little more casual. We're going to do some final breathing, alternating nostril breathing. So what we're going to do is choose a hand, left or right. I'm using my right. Pinky and thumb are extended. If your nose is plugged, this probably won't work for you, so make sure you're able to breathe clearly through both nostrils. What we're going to do is plug our right nostril with our right thumb. That's the hand I'm using anyways. Inhale through the left nostril, plug it with the pinky, release the right nostril with the thumb. Exhale. Now inhale through this side. Plug. Exhale. Inhale. Switch. Exhale. Inhale on this side. Plug. Release. Exhale. You can really flare your nostrils well to open it even more. Inhale on the side. Plug. Switch. Exhaling. Inhale on the side. Let's do one more round. Release your hand. If your eyes aren't closed yet, you can close them out. Roll out your shoulders one more time. Two big circles in both directions. If you're in lotus and you want to switch out which leg is on top, go ahead and do it now. Let's everybody bring our hands through to heart center. Press your thumbs against your chest. Feel your heart beating. Let's take a moment of gratitude for all the work that our heart does for us, beating incessantly. Having gratitude for ourselves, for putting our minds and bodies through a rigorous physical test, which only benefits us as long as we do it safely. Taking a moment of gratitude someone in our lives. Envision them in your mind's eye, thankful for them. In closing, we say, Namaste.